Hi guys, welcome to the show. My name is Seb Ostrovich, aka the Voice of the People, and this is the Weightlifting House podcast. Okay guys, hello and welcome back to the Weightlifting House news show. I am very sorry that it's been so long, but I've had a very busy month, basically. The last 4 weeks have been pretty insane after Christmas. I went to the US, I trained there with Glenn and the team on a great training camp for just over 2 weeks, and then flying back, been to London, been back home. It's been a little bit crazy, but finally I'm back to a pretty decent and reasonable schedule. Today again has been very busy. I went to the gym, had some PTing, had a great session, and then I came out and I saw that my tyres were flat, so I had to change my tyre, drive home, find a garage. And finally, I've been able to sit down, write the news show, and I'm very much looking forward to cracking on and going through all of the amazing lifts that have happened over the last month. Three things that I'm going to say before we get started. So firstly, Weightlifting House bars. I mentioned this on the last podcast, but not on the news show. I'm very excited to say that they are very close to being ready. Glenn and I spoke, and I basically said that I thought it would be best to take off the American Weightlifting, which is his new company. The only reason for that was because I want to sell them in Europe and the UK, so I think they'll sell better if they're purely Weightlifting House branded. So if you are interested in those, they are 5 needle bearing, spin amazingly well. They've got 211,000 PSI, which is amazing. Chrome finish, great bars. I trained on them with a bunch of other guys, and I'm sure they'll all tell you, if you know any of them, just how good they are. Secondly, I have ordered another batch of the YB Normal t-shirts, so if you are wanting one of those, because I've had a few messages from people saying that they want one, they will be in stock very soon again. I think they arrive next Monday or Tuesday or something, so yeah, they're almost in stock. Thirdly, and I believe there was a thirdly, and I can't remember what the thirdly is. Maybe thirdly was let's do the show. Maybe that's what it was. I don't think it was, but I'm going to say that because I've run out of thirds. So let's get cracking with the show. There were so many things that happened and so many videos that I'd saved. There's no way I was able to get through them all because I had 4 times the normal amount. So I have picked out some of the highlights. I hope that's right. Otherwise the show would be about 2 hours long. So, oh yes, no, I remember what thirdly was now. Thirdly was, I've been approached by a sponsor for the podcast. They're called Health IQ. This isn't an ad now, I've just speaking to them. And I kind of wanted to ask your guys' opinion about having a single ad on the show, which will just be me speaking. The reason it would be useful for me is because I do so much work on all of this stuff, and it's all, obviously, all the podcasts, that kind of thing, is unpaid, and it's not like I'm selling t-shirts every day or anything like that, so it'd be very useful for me. It's a great deal for you guys. I'll explain more about it probably next week when I actually maybe go ahead and do with it, but I'd be kind of interested to see what you guys think about having just this one sponsor on the show, taking up a few seconds, and of course you can always forward it if you're not interested at all in it. It doesn't bother me. Anyway, alright, let's actually crack on with the show this time. So Dmitry Klokov, the ex-Russian 105, snatched 180 kilos in Thailand, showing us that he still has it. This is 26 kilos under his all-time best of 206 kilos, so, 26 kilos is still quite a bit, it's over 10%, but for a guy who must be in his mid-30s by now, I imagine that is still pretty insane to be hitting 180 with relative ease and probably less training than he's used to. Ali Hosseini, the Iranian super heavyweight, did some great stuff in training, including a 180 kilo double in the snatch that he caught so high in the first rep that it probably would have counted as a power. He also did a high pull plus low hang snatch at 190 kilos. And he also strict pressed 160 kilos pretty smoothly. He did it with incredibly strict form. It looked like he had a whole load more in him. In fact, there are videos of people, weightlifters, strict pressing over 160, but it's kind of different. They lean back a lot, they kind of get their chest involved, they almost bounce the bar a little bit off their shoulders before they do the lift. His was as strict as can be. He stayed upright. It was almost like he was tensing his abs so hard that he was almost leaning forward rather than being pushed back at all like most people are when they do a strict press. So for those of you who want to see more about Ali Husseini's phenomenal training, then there is another Instagram page which you guys should follow. It is called Saeed Ali Husseini _fan_ page. So Saeed Ali Husseini _fan_ page. Okay, so back over to the USA, we have CJ Cummings. He is back into tough-looking training after his whirlpool of a World Championships, where he set a senior American record, but he bombed out on the clean and jerk. A few weeks ago, he did, to quote his coach, a final set with moderate weight with 200 kilos for a set of 10 in the back squat. So 200 kilos for 10 for a 16-year-old 69 is apparently moderate weight and is the final set of many. So that's pretty insane from him because he moved the bar incredibly quickly. Let's stick with CJ for the time being. He also posted videos of a clean and jerk sequence. Remember, he's now a squat jerker. And he hit 175, 177, and 181 kilos with a long hold at the top before dropping it. That 181 is only 4 kilos under his all-time best and his youth world record. I don't think CJ will ever miss jerks again like he did at Worlds, where he almost basically stood up the weight and held it but wasn't able for some reason to fully extend at the hip and show that he was actually fully opened up. You have to demonstrate that everything is extended from knees, ankles, and shoulders. Is that extension or is that flexion? Whatever. So yeah, he's been holding weights at the top, just squeezing his hips, basically just trying to make sure that he's actually completely stood straight, so that the judges will give him a down signal and he won't have to hold it there like a pillock before they give him red lights, basically. Now, Kane Wilkes, the American super heavyweight, never ever goes heavy in training, or at least he almost never posts videos of himself hitting 90% or more in the lifts, but he did post a few pretty nice looking lifts. So he hit a snatch of 155 kilos, although with a competition PR of 186 kilos, so 31 kilos more. This isn't particularly insane for him at all. He also posted a clean plus front squat plus jerk with 197 kilos. Again, this is over 30 kilos under his best in competition, but still great to see from him. Finally, Kane did do something where he pushed it to max. He went big, and I mean really big with this. He went heavy with some overhead squats. He made 200 kilos for a triple and 210 kilos for a double. Impressively, as well, is the fact that he behind the neck power jerked the weight to get it up overhead. Oftentimes people split jerk it, but he was able to power jerk it. So he's actually power jerking more than he's doing working sets within the clean and jerk, which is pretty cool. Now over here across the pond, overseas in the UK, we had Gareth Evans, our Welsh and British 69 kilo lifter, certainly one of our best lifters. He squatted a PB triple of 220 kilos, more than 3 times body weight. And he did it for 3 reps, which is pretty incredible. Now, I've just remembered that I've not written the notes for what I've just thought about in my head, so I'm going to just talk about it now quickly before I forget. And that is that at the English champs, Cyril, one of our best lifters, is a 94, I think originally maybe from Cameroon. He snatched 152 kilos, which is a great lift, as did Edmund, whose last name I can't remember, but he also snatched 152. I thought I'd just mention that quickly because it's very rare in the UK that we have people snatch 150 kilos or more, not least 2 athletes in the same session, both in the 94 kilo class. I thought that was pretty good, and I thought I'd mention it. Anyway, back to the actual show. So, speaking of back squats, Mart Saim pause squatted 100 kilos more than Gareth Evans did, with a speedy 320 kilo squat. I actually have an interview, I've said this before, I have an interview that I did with Mart Saim that I will put out when I have some free time. I'm nearly there, I promise. I've just been so busy, as I mentioned, that I've not been able to get around to that. Oh, and Mart Saim also made a paused push press PR of 205 kilos. He paused for 1 to 2 seconds at the bottom of the dip, which is pretty amazing. At the World's Training Hall as well, he'd PR'd his jerk with a pause also, so it was the most he'd ever gotten overhead, and he paused it for 1 to 2 seconds, and that was at 255 kilos, 2 more kilos that he hit to take silver medal at Worlds, and just, 12 kilos under the world record with a pause. So that's pretty amazing stuff from him. Now, worth posting about just for the strength stuff, Gus Brooks, aka Evan Rutledge, deadlifted a huge 716 pounds, which is 325 kilos. That's massive. He also cleaned a pretty whopping 210 kilos. But more impressively, perhaps, and more impressively, as noted by Evan, actually, I saw on Instagram, he said how impressive this was the fact that Grip and Rip, aka Kurt Jensen, deadlifted 700 pounds for an easy set of 5. He also strict pressed 120 kilos for 5 sets of 7. Now, if you don't know who Kurt is, he is/was a thrower who was recruited, I believe, by Phil Andrews on a talent search scheme. So currently Kurt is now weightlifting. He is immensely strong and powerful. He's hang power clean 210 kilos, and he's behind the neck jerk 235, maybe even 240 kilos, I believe. You can follow him at grip and rip _USA. Grip N rip _USA. Now I'm going to stick with deadlifts for a little bit longer. Lovchev, Russia's super, who won gold and set a world record total and clean and jerk, was 264 at Houston, who was later popped, deadlifted a very big 360 kilos, which is only 3 kilos shy of 800 pounds, and it was. It was actually pretty hard, to be honest. You can tell that he's not done the largest volume of deadlifts maybe in the past, but I mean 360 kilos is a great deadlift. And it kind of goes to show that you don't have to have the biggest pull in the world to clean and jerk the most weight. I mean, not that 800 pounds isn't a big pull, but when there are people like Eddie Hall pulling 1,100 pounds, 300 pounds more than Lovchev, it's amazing that Lovchev is still able to clean and jerk 264 kilos. Colin Burns is making a return to training after his shoulder dislocation at Worlds. Nothing special yet, but he was able to muscle clean and press 50 kilos. I'll keep you guys up to date with his progress as much as I'm able to. Oh, something again which I'd forgotten to write down in the show notes was James Moser, one of my favourite athletes to watch. I did a great interview with him, actually, which you can read on my website, weightliftinghouse.com. But he snapped his arm, I believe, in 2 places, horrifically, it sounds, whilst arm wrestling someone. I mean, it's extremely upsetting for him, I'm sure, because, he was doing so well. He'd almost snatched 180. But the thing that came to mind when I found out that he had broken his arm wrestling was, who the hell was he arm wrestling? I mean, for those of you who've seen James Moser, he's a big guy. He's like 130 kilos, 6'1", like he's a big jack dude. And it was his arm that snapped, so I'd love to see the size of the guy who managed to break James Moser's arm. Anyway, James, if you're listening, I hope you have a speedy recovery. I appreciate your support with the bar stuff, and keep us posted on Instagram. Now, Sarah Robles posted that she had been struggling with the decision about whether or not to take a run at another Olympics. And she delighted the fans when she said that she was going to plan on fighting for Tokyo 2020. She was going to give it one more shot, and she wasn't going to give up, which is great because she's done so well over the last 2 years. 3rd place in Rio, 1st place, gold medal this year in Anaheim. I think she can do amazingly well in 2020. Ian Wilson posted a classic Ian Wilson front squat video as he PR'd his front squat with a huge 252 kilos. Now, for those of you who don't know what I mean by that, it basically means that his elbows were incredibly low, his knees were practically touching, he was screaming silently, but he made the lift and it was phenomenal. And I mean, 252 kilos, what are you going to say about that? But it seems like very recently, every single 105 in the US hit 240 kilos for the first time. And then they all started competing for 245 and then 250, and now, even more. And actually, Ian's 252 actually puts him above Wes Kitts in the front squat by 2 kilos. But, who's counting? Ian also posted a video from his preparation for the AO3 in the summer where he snatched 170 kilos, 3 kilos under his all-time best, and made a pretty crazy save with it. It was awesome to see. Clarence Kennedy out of Ireland pause squatted 290 kilos for a speedy old rep. Apparently, actually, he might have done 301 that you can see on his Patreon page. I've not seen it. This may just be hearsay, but one of my friends who has Patreon, I believe, told me that Clarence had done 301. Of course, he was beltless and sleeveless when he hit this 290 as well, and I'd imagine the 301. Now, one of Clarence's training partners, David Nolan, who listens to this show, almost made me weightlifting famous the other day. He wore the Weightlifting House t-shirt under a white t-shirt, so you could just about make it out. And I was just waiting for him to whip out the YB normal top during this long Clarence Kennedy video, but unfortunately he never did. So thank you for that, David. I would have almost certainly made hundreds of sales off the back of that video, but alas, David did not take off his white t-shirt to reveal the amazing YB normal t-shirt underneath. Now back to Clarence. He squatted 220 kilos for 12 in his most recent YouTube video. Also over in Ireland, a lifter who trains with Clarence is Owen Murphy, who hit some big lifts, including a PR snatch at 150 kilos, 5 kilo PB, and a 180 kilo clean and jerk. Not bad at all. Now the Russian 85 Igor Klim team, who he's recently become pretty big on Instagram, has posted a video of a huge squat at 290 kilos. As if to mock him, Tian Tao, much better and stronger looking, posted a video of a 300 kilo squat which looked much better and stronger looking, and he posted that literally just a few hours after Igor Klim team had posted his 290. So that was pretty funny to see. I don't know if that was coincidence or not, but it was cool to see the 290 followed by an even smoother, better looking 300. A lifter you guys need to follow if you don't already is Adar Kazov. He is a Kazakh 77 who posted an awesome video of a 200 kilo clean and jerk. He has very few followers, and I'm sure you'd enjoy seeing his videos. If you just type in Adar Kazov, Aidarkazov, V, blimmin' heck, Kazov, you can see that video there, and follow him because he's great. So now, speaking of new accounts to follow, actually, you can also check out, this is a real mouthful to pronounce, Evgeniek Stafev 777. If you just go onto Weightlifting House Instagram, go on follows and type in 777, you'll find him, because it's going to take so long just spelling that out to you guys. It's ridiculous. But I have no idea what weight class he is, but he posted a video of a 176 kilo snatch and a 230 kilo clean and jerk, which is just crazy strength. I originally thought he was a 77, but upon seeing his 230, I realized, well, there's just no way. He's most likely a 94, maybe on the slightly smaller side, but probably a 94 kilo lifter. Kate Vibert made some decent lifts over the last few weeks with a 115 kilo clean, a 124 kilo jerk PR, which is amazing, and a competition performance of 96-112. Not her best, but still pretty darn strong. Travis Mash's young stud, 14-year-old Morgan McCullough, has gone crazy. He snatched 116 kilos off blocks, and even more impressively, he clean and jerked 157 kilos at 14 years of age. Not only did he make these crazy lifts, but he preceded them all with a 500-pound, 227 kilo back squat PR. Jesus Christ, that's amazing as a 14-year-old. Artem Okulov, the Russian 85, is always amazing to watch. He is, without a doubt, one of the most perfect movers in today's world of weightlifting. He posted a 190 kilo clean double plus 2 jerks. Whilst he's done more in this complex before, I think I've seen him do it with 200 kilos. It is still certainly phenomenal for an 85 kilo lifter. Okulov also hang snatched 160 kilos for a double. Again, not his best. He has hang snatched 190 kilos before, and he even hang doubled 180. But his 160, however, was no feet. Whether he intended it or not to be a no-foot snatch, I'm not sure, but it was a 160 hang double no-foot snatch. Crazy. The most impressive video to have surfaced over the last month is from the reigning world record holder, world champion, Olympic champion, Iranian legend, Sarab Maradi, who clean and very, very, very almost jerked 242 kilos. He had it locked out, he missed it behind, a personal record attempt for him, and 9 kilos over his own world record. Now, sticking with the most impressive lifts of the month, I think we have to include some of Harrison Maris's training. He's been a staple of the show, and I will not give up on him now. He did a 185 kilo clean triple. He is on his way up to the 85 kilo class now, having struggled to maintain at 75 for the last couple of competitions. His coach said that Harrison is aiming to gain about a kilo of body weight a month. Anything else too fast and he would be building the wrong kind of tissue, i.e. fat, not muscle. Right now he's sitting at around 80 kilos. I think even more impressive than his 185 triple is the fact that he doubled 190 kilos. Yes, 190 kilos in the clean and jerk. That's a clean jerk, not a clean jerk or whatever. He clean jerked 190 kilos. I mean, 190, this was Chad Vaughan's national record before Harrison was on the scene. This was the weight that Travis Cooper, James Tatum, Angelo Bianco have all tried to hit, and no one has succeeded. And Harrison, a 17-year-old, does it 2 times in a row. More craziness from him is that he hit a 180 kilo snatch balance triple. I just have no words. Nathan Damron, the 94 out of MASH Elite, hit a few pretty nice lifts in January with a 180 kilo clean, 2 front squats and jerk. I've posted a few videos on Instagram of the clean front squat jerk complex over the last week. The most impressive one I found was of Nijat Rahimov, the Kazakh 77, who clean and jerked. He's the clean and jerk world record holder at the moment and the Olympic champion in the 77 kilo class. But he made this complex with 200 kilos, just 14 kilos under his own world record and only 10 kilos under the previous world record before he jumped 4 kilos in that historic win in Rio over Lou. Damron also hit a pause snatch at 150 kilos, I believe just 12 kilos under his personal record in the snatch. He may well have done 163, I'm not sure, but I'm almost certain he's not done more than that. Bodhi Santavi, the junior Canadian 94, snatched 166 kilos. Phenomenal snatch from him. That was in training, however, so it was an unofficial senior record. He also got bumped up from 6th to 5th at Worlds after Aramis Didzbalis tested positive. Now, Didzbalis, most of you I'm sure know who he is. For those of you who don't, he is the bold, jacked Lithuanian guy who does backflips on stage. He's not the most surprising positive test I've ever seen when you look at him. He might be the most jacked 94 in the world, but it's always disappointing when a great lifter like him does get popped. Never the best clean and jerker, but always an amazing snatcher. He always posed a threat to the world record. Farhad Sobirov, the amazing 94 kilo snatcher who took silver in the snatch at Worlds, hit a beautiful looking 186 kilos in training. This was only 2 kilos under Kaki's world record. It will be, I believe, however, Surab Muradi who is most likely to get that world record. It's almost like it's not something that might happen. It's almost a definite. I feel pretty convinced and sure of the fact that Surab will very soon hold the snatch and clean and jerk world records. He's already got the clean and jerk in total. Nicky Varbanov, son of the amazing Alexander Varbanov, who, if you don't know Alexander Varbanov, he sits at number 9 all-time on the Sinclair list. He totaled 382.5 kilos as a 75 kilo lifter. One of the best of all time, one of the best to ever do it. Anyway, Nicky Varbanov, his son, set the junior record with 166 kilos in the clean and jerk as a 69 kilo junior. One of my favourite British lifters, Chris Murray, won English Nationals 2018 with a 129-157 performance, I believe at only 18 years old. He may well have just turned 19, but I think he's only 18. If you want to read more about him, you can check out that interview I did on weightliftinghouse.com. An amazing lift from one of my favourite lifters in the world is from Iran's Kianush Rostami, who hit a gorgeous 215 kilo clean and jerk, just 5 kilos under his own world record. If you follow his Instagram at the moment, it seems that he's pretty much living out in the mountains of Iran, lifting in the meadows. He's like driving up there. There are these high quality videos of him as he puts down this little bit of boarding on the meadow basically, and snatches and clean and jerks on there. Looking out over the mountainside of Iran. Pretty strange, but admittedly it does look gorgeous over there. Now, I think that's actually it. I think I've managed to get through all of the most pressing news of the last month. There were, of course, many other videos, but they didn't really make the cut because I didn't want this podcast to be an hour long. So I just want to reiterate the thing that I'm just so excited about is the fact that I've got these barbells coming. They're amazing. If you want to see what the end caps look like, go onto my Instagram, Weightlifting House, and you can see the end cap designs we have. It's basically the logo with blue around the outside or yellow, depending on whether it's a male or female bar. Prices are going to be, I'm fairly sure it's going to be $349 for the women's and £379 this is for the men's. So that's about, I'm not even going to do the conversion. You can do the conversion online. I don't want to get it wrong. But, I mean, you won't find a 5-needle bearing bar of this quality, or probably even a 5-needle bearing bar at all for this price. It's amazingly well priced. The bars are phenomenal. Glenn even said himself that these bars are better than his old Pendlay bars, which is amazing for me. I mean, he spent so much time getting these bars manufactured correctly. He ordered loads. He kept getting them changed. The design is perfect. There's a center knurl. It's a ghost center knurl, which I love. IWF knurl. As I said, 5 needles. Huge amount of tensile strength. Spins like a Rolls Royce. I'm pumped. I'm so excited to get these bars out. So if you are wanting to buy a bar, well, I mean, they'll probably be ready by the end of February, I'd imagine, for sale. Let me know if you do, because one, I can't place a huge order. I can't just order 100 bars straight away because, one, I don't have the funds, and two, if they don't sell, I'm screwed because I'm going to be left with all these barbells. So I'm only going to order probably 30 for the first batch and then immediately order in another however many as soon as I start selling those. But let me know, because it makes me excited to know that there are people who are going to buy these bars rather than just hoping that they go. I know a bunch of you have messaged me and said you will, which is terrific. It's great. It makes me excited. But, let me know if you want one of these bars. If you're looking for a high-quality 5-needle bearing bar, you will not be able to find a better bar at a better price than the new Weightlifting House barbell. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I hope you guys are looking forward to the release of the new bars so you can see some videos and pictures of it. I'm getting far too excited to keep doing this podcast, so I'm going to calm down and end the show. Thanks once again for tuning in, and I will see you all on Monday.